Pause. Go.
Hello, I am Dr. Harvey Abrams talking to you from the Stonewall National Museum and Archives located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And welcome to another episode in our Archives Alive series. Let me take you into the archives and back to 1959. She was a runner-up in the Miss America contest who within a couple of years used her singing voice and good looks to record a couple of big hit songs. Till There Was You and Paper Roses were two of her biggest. For those of us who were baby boomers, she became a familiar face, appearing for years on TV and magazine ads as the spokesperson for the Florida Citrus Commission. A day without orange juice is like a day without sunshine was her slogan, and Anita Bryant was her name. During the 1960s and 70s, many Fortune 500 companies like Coca-Cola, Singer Sewing Machine, hired her to advertise their products. She traveled with Bob Hope to entertain U.S. troops stationed in foreign countries. She sang at the White House, and in 1968, a year of intense social unrest, she sang at both the Democratic and Republican national conventions. She sang the national anthem at the 1969 Super Bowl, and for years later sang at the funeral of past President Lyndon B. Johnson. Between 1970 and 1977, she had written 7 Christian faith books, in addition to a cookbook, which besides the recipes, told the story of a family, her family, that was devoted to Christ. By that time, she had been married for 15 years to her husband and manager, Bob Green, had 4 children, and had been voted the most admired woman in America for 3 consecutive years by Good Housekeeping magazine. Not bad for a girl born into poverty in rural Oklahoma. Although her parents divorced when she was very young, Anita Bryant became the poster child for a devout, wholesome American values and a quintessential American success story. And then it all changed after she made a momentous decision that would change not only the course of her life, but also the lives of gays and lesbians across America. The year was 1977. The place was Miami-Dade County on the tip of Florida, just a few short miles from where I am talking from today. To give some background to her story, in January of that year, the Miami-Dade Commission passed an ordinance that banned discrimination against gays and lesbians in employment, housing, and from gathering in public spaces, such as parks and beaches. The ordinance passed in Miami-Dade was but one of many similar ordinances that had been passed throughout the United States, which protected gays and lesbians from the sorts of discrimination they had been routinely subjected to over many decades. Because this particular ordinance occurred in her own backyard in Miami, did not rest easily with Anita Bryant and her views on homosexuality. Shortly after it passed, she supposedly was driving with her young daughter when they passed by what had been an auto accident. When she realized that it could have been the two of them in the accident, she knew that it was Jesus that had saved them, and that God was sending her a message to go do his work. To help the poor and the hungry? Not quite. No. She said that she felt the hand of God guiding her to fight, to overturn the gay anti-discrimination ordinance, which had just been passed. Although the media at that time rarely covered issues relating to homosexuality, she knew that she could use her celebrity to shine a spotlight on her cause, or rather, God's cause. She also understood that in order to be successful, she couldn't simply demonize gays. That wouldn't work. So she smartly couched her religious-based homophobia into promoting the idea that gays posed a danger to America's children, and that it was a mother's duty to mount a crusade, protect children from the sins of homosexuality. She insisted that since gays couldn't reproduce, they needed to recruit innocent children in order to, in her words, freshen their ranks. To accomplish her goal, Anita Bryant formed an organization and called it Save Our Children. But before she could put the ordinance up for a vote, she would need to collect 10,000 signatures from Miami-Dade County citizens. As it turned out, she got 64,000. Her campaign was initially intended to be a local matter, which set its sights on overturning a local ordinance, which, among other things, allowed gay teachers to teach children in public schools. In short order, it became about so much more, and it drew national attention. Anita Bryant's face began showing up on the covers of Time magazine, Newsweek, People magazine, and just about every newspaper and magazine in the country. Save Our Children became a discussion over whether religion should have a say in the formation of our laws, and how a sin like homosexuality eroded the family, the very basis of our society. It became about the Constitution and whether equality applied to all citizens or to just those in power. It seemed that the very foundations of the American way of life rested on the results of the Miami-Dade County vote. The date for the county referendum was set, June 7th, 1977, approximately 6 months after the initial passage of the Gay Rights Ordinance. The opposing sides were lined up to do battle. Gays and lesbians and their allies on one side, Anita Bryant and her Christian faith-based devotees on the other. Celebrities like Bette Midler, Jane Fonda, Mary Tyler Moore, Ed Asner, John Waters, Barbra Streisand, and former football player David Kopay came to Miami to lend their support to the gay rights cause. Leonard Matlovich, the decorated war hero, who 2 years earlier gained fame when he was dishonorably discharged from the military when he publicly came out, was the Gay Coalition's spokesperson. Anita Bryant appeared on talk shows and gave interviews in which she was frequently quoted as saying, "No one has the right to corrupt our children." At every opportunity, she spread the lie that homosexuals were compulsive child molesters and purveyors of child pornography. It also seemed that she had developed a unique ability to drop the word abomination into just about every conceivable conversation, no matter what. Gay and lesbians formed the Coalition for Human Rights and the Miami Victory Campaign and enlisted the help of out-of-state activists. They initiated a nationwide boycott of Florida orange juice. Anita Bryant became a lightning rod for controversy, and her message of intolerance tarnished her wholesome image, which in turn put her job as the face of Florida orange juice in jeopardy. Save Our Children advertising campaigns regularly highlighted photos and videos of gay pride parades, which featured gay men in dresses and makeup and bare-chested lesbians on motorcycles. Gays countered with bumper stickers that read, "A day without human rights is like a day without sunshine." Dartboards with Anita Bryant's face came on the market. Shopping bags, buttons, and t-shirts could be seen asking for voters to vote no on repeal and proclaiming their disdain for America's one-time all-American girl. Bryant easily found allies in the Christian evangelical community, as the Reverend Jerry Falwell flew down to Miami in his private jet from his perch in Lynchburg, Virginia. He incredulously told a crowd, "So-called gay folks would just as soon kill you as look at you," while Jack Wurtson, head of the Word of Life International evangelical group, told the same crowd, "Homosexuality is a sin so low, so rotten, that even dogs and cats don't practice it." Rarely did a day go by without an article or an editorial appearing either in support or against the pro-gay ordinance. Priests, ministers, and rabbis weighed in on both sides, as did psychiatrists and other stakeholders. Florida Governor Ruben Askew came out and called for repeal of the ordinance, while President Jimmy Carter came out publicly in favor of the ordinance. President Carter, a devout Christian, said, "I favor the end of harassment or abuse or discrimination of homosexualities." And just in case you couldn't decide who were the good guys, the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, endorsed Anita Bryant and her campaign. And so it went back and forth. The Bryant camp had money, professional expertise, a well-organized advertising campaign, and a fear-based message which resounded from pulpits across America, especially in Miami-Dade County. Supporters of gays and the anti-discrimination ordinance from the beginning lacked money and organizational know-how, but had big-name celebrities and passion, and what was right, fair, and just on their side. By the evening of June 7th, 1977, the voters had spoken. They had cast their votes and the results were in. By a margin of 69% to 31%, the citizens voted to repeal the ordinance which afforded protections to gays and lesbian citizens of Miami-Dade County. Prejudice and fear had won out. Anita Bryant had won, but wasn't done. Within a few weeks, she announced the formation of a national campaign to overturn ordinances in other states similar to the one in Miami-Dade. The energy in which she pursued her crusade created a national fervor in both Christian and gay communities across the nation. She held packed rallies in numerous cities, including Houston, New Orleans, Chicago, and Atlanta. All were met with corresponding anti-Anita rallies, often drawing thousands of rowdy counter-protesters. And despite her depiction as a fascist and a human rights molester, Anita Bryant and her crusade, now called Protect Our Children, was able to successfully overturn gay anti-discrimination ordinances in St. Paul, Minnesota, Wichita, Kansas, and Eugene, Oregon, in addition to spawning other anti-gay initiatives throughout the country. Is there a silver lining to be found under this dark cloud? As a matter of fact, there is. By taking her campaign national and bringing attention to her cause, Anita Bryant enabled the words gay and homosexual to appear in just about every newspaper and on every major radio and television station in the country. Ironically, Anita Bryant, as much as anybody, helped bring what had begun at Stonewall, gay visibility, to a whole new level. Her celebrity brought attention to the very issue she attempted to keep out of sight. Her virulent homophobia in the name of Christian morality and motherhood infuriated gays and lesbians and caused many, including gay Christians, to come out of the closet, to share their sexuality, their love, their lives with family, friends, and co-workers. In many ways, she became the symbol of ignorance, of hate and prejudice, while gays and lesbians simply became more human. Her once golden image became tarnished and led many corporations to cut off lucrative advertising contracts they had with her. She started experiencing financial difficulty as well as marital problems. In Iowa, she had the indignity of having a banana cream pie shoved into her face. And in 1980, despite her professed belief in the sanctity of marriage before God, she garnered the strength to bypass scripture and to divorce her husband and manager, Bob Greene. Given the current time, with gays and lesbians having gained the right to marry, to enter military service, to adopt and gain custody of their children, it would be easy to dismiss Anita Bryant as a momentary bump in the road leading to gay equality. But that would be wrong. Anita Bryant and Save Her Children campaign has without question left a lasting and impactful legacy. For gays and lesbians, having to face off with Anita Bryant's organizational machine added an important feature to their newfound visibility, the recognition of themselves as a political force, as a viable political movement, and highlighted the need to mobilize, organize, strategize, and to develop all the professional tools which could be used to direct and advance their cause in the courts and in the legislative chambers of government. For Christians who had unsuccessfully tried to mount a campaign to defeat Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court in 1973, Anita Bryant became a hero, a leader, a successful one at that. Her campaign of 1977 was just the gasoline they needed to spark a movement of their own. Jerry Falwell, along with other Christian leaders, helped mold it into a religious crusade which within a year became the moral majority. Within a few short years, the crusade Anita Bryant started in Miami would grow to become one of the most powerful anti-gay political wings of the conservative Republican Party. Since I began my research on Anita Bryant here at the Stonewall National Museum and Archives, I have mentioned her name multiple times in talking about my work here to various friends, relatives, and acquaintances, both gay and straight, most of whom are baby boomers like myself. For those who are straight, I generally get a look of kind of a curious look and a lukewarm, yeah, I kind of remember her response. From my gay and lesbian friends, I have to laugh because of the universal response I get to the mere mention of her name. It's been over 40 years since Anita Bryant spearheaded the repeal of the Miami-Dade Gay Anti-Discrimination Ordinance. And yet, the name Anita Bryant invariably brings out a look of instant recognition, a face contorted in horror, accompanied by a sound of utter disgust. Anita Bryant. Love her or hate her, she and her homophobic inspired campaign to keep gays and lesbians from becoming visible without fear was the important impetus for the rise of two powerful modern American political social movements. As of today, she's alive and in her early 80s. According to several sources I've checked out, she may be planning a comeback. This is Dr. Harvey Abrams from the Stonewall National Museum and Archives. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, that you will tune in for other Archive Alive presentations. Until then, thanks for watching.